What is going on, guys? Texas Platinum is back. Finally, the three-headed monster is in the fold. We got Matt Myers, Matt Madrid, and myself. And we play Kansas State this week, but honestly, Texas has bigger fish to fry. After that Iowa State loss, Tom Herman likely about to be fired anytime from now till the end of the season. We don't really know. But this video, we've been talking about this coach for a while. We've been hinting at him. And finally, we're just going to really focus this video on the man that is Urban Meyer and the chances of him becoming Texas's next head coach for the football program. So we're going to start out with Matt Myers. And actually, before that, if you're new here, please subscribe to our channel. We do a lot of great content, provide weekly videos for y'all. So if you're a Longhorn fan or a college football fan in general, please subscribe, like and comment as well. We love seeing the interaction on our page. Now, with that said, Matt Myers, let's begin. Matt kind of has the whole spiel, all the nitty gritty details about Urban Meyer. So how about you kick it off and let us know what to expect?
Yeah, let me start this off by saying, everything is super fluid right now, and it'll probably change by the time we release this video. But I'll give you all the update of what I've gathered from every website every message board, everything I've followed. Basically, right now we're really in a critical moment. Like, it's kind of like the fourth quarter, the final countdown. It's kind of like it's here. Like this, we'll know in the next, I'll say 3, 4, 5 days whether Urban's going to be the Texas head coach in 2021 or not. So, yeah, where to begin? Well, the most recent development would probably be knowing that Urban was met by Texas regents in Columbus last night. That was one of the most recent reports that came out. And they flew back to Austin, I believe, today. That's been reported on multiple sites. So, I mean, that's significant. You don't just fly out to meet with Urban if Urban's not mulling a decision seriously. So, and then there's also rumors of Urban being heading to Texas, like Horseshoe Bay, to meet with more Texas brass. But either way, I'm not really too concerned about where everybody is right now. I'm more concerned about what I'm hearing behind the scenes, in terms of what Urban's demands are and stuff. And it seems like Urban's already trying to put together a little staff in his brain. I don't know if he's actually trying to put a staff together, or if he's just saying, what if I went and what would my staff look like? But he's already making phone calls and gauging interests from what we've gathered. And he's also listed out the demands that he wants from the job. He wants complete control of the University of Texas football program. So he wants the facility upgrades that he wants them to happen. And he wants to, call the shots, hire who he wants to hire, get his assistant coaches all long-term contracts that, they won't just be there for a year, then be underpaid and shoot off. He wants them to be taken care of so he can get his guys in there. And just a lot of things, a lot of small things that a guy like Urban, who's just a genius, basically focuses on. He focuses on the little details. So yeah, I mean, I'll pass it off to y'all for now, but that's kind of where we're at. I would expect to know by Sunday at the latest what's going on with Herman. I mean, Herman's done. That's just factual at this point. Yeah. But by Sunday, we should know what Urban wants to do, I think. But who knows? Who knows, honestly?
I don't know, just an open question to you, or just even to you too, Trevor. Has the University of Texas done everything it can to get this man?
Yes, and actually, just so we touch on this real quick, we are recording this right now, Wednesday, 9:00. Obviously, as Myers already said, this is incredibly fluid. So just so y'all know, in terms of what we're reporting right now is literally what we know at the moment. Anything can change by the time this video is released. So they've been doing the meetings on Monday and Tuesday, I believe. Myers, you can touch on that again if we need to. But in terms of has Texas done everything in their power, Myers, you can drop a little bit more specifics because I know that you know more. But for everything from what I've gathered, it's looked like a totally different approach to what Texas has done traditionally. Texas, as we've mentioned in previous episodes from this channel, they've always kind of had a word Texas mentality to where they always want to look squeaky clean. They don't want to spend a bunch of money. They never want to be known as the guy that spends the most amount of money on their head coach. They want to be a very balanced, respectable, ethical program.
To be a sought after job, right? Something
Exactly.
Like
they want to be.
We
They
don't
want
go
to be
get
top
people to
dog.
us.
They want to be top dog, but they don't want to spend top dollar either for it. They just want to have this image that Texas is so great that you don't need to have an expensive coach. Like, we just win. And I think that mentality, that mentality is flawed. As we've seen this past decade of Texas football, it's time that things need to change. Maybe once we get back to that level of success that Mac had and that Royal obviously had, maybe at that point we can kind of pump the brakes and say, hey, come to Texas because you'll win. But honestly, that culture needs to be totally reestablished at this point. And Urban Meyer is literally, I can't think of a coach that's better at kickstarting programs, developing culture.
Same.
I mean, he is the guy for starting over. Everywhere he's been, Bowling Green completely turned that program around. Utah used to be nothing, and obviously everyone knows about Utah now, and he started that with Alex Smith. Florida, obviously, with the national championships and Tebow. And then lately Ohio State, that was a great program before he came in, but when he did come in, recruiting totally changed, and being that he recruits all over the country. And Texas is probably the hot spot for Ohio State kids these days. But yeah, I mean, we are doing everything that we can. Myers, hop in a little bit more about the details and how far Texas is going in regards to getting Meyer.
Yeah, so we are definitely doing everything we possibly can, which is nice. This is not the Texas of Steve Patterson that, it's completely fumbled the bag with Nick Saban, didn't know what they were doing. We are definitely have good leadership now, and credit Jay Hartzell, Chris Del Conte for kind of, forcing this alignment that we have currently, because we're all aligned on one guy. And like you said, we're doing everything we can to get him. I mean, the numbers I'm hearing right now, I think the consensus is 5 years, 12 million a year, which is just absolutely insane. I don't even think that's insane, like, from the fact that it's a lot of money. I think it's just insane that that's $3 million more than Nick Saban makes at Alabama, and he's like the gold standard of like coaches all time. He's number one. So the fact that it's like $3 million over that is it's crazy. But I don't think that's overpriced. I mean, think about this. John Wall makes $40 million for the Washington Wizards to sit on the bench for like the last 2 years. Okay,
it's really not a lot for the University of Texas. Like,
right?
Real, like, it's not that much money.
Yeah, like I just think about all these NBA players like Tobias Harris making like $45 million a year. Like yes, it's a lot of money compared to coaches, but think about the implications of what the Texas brand is. Like, it's worth over $1 billion, and
drop in the bucket.
The amount of revenue and return on investment it will bring in to bring a guy like Urban Meyer is absolutely worth it. So I'm totally I'm not writing the check. I don't have that money, but I mean, I'm definitely down for them to pay $12 million a year. I've also seen 7 years, $14 million. I don't know if that's as credible, but I have seen that tossed around too. So either way, it's going to be over 11 million, what it seems like, which will be Texas will be setting a whole new precedent and standard for coaches salaries now. So in college football. So, I mean, that's cool. I mean, we're finally being the Joneses like we've always preached about. We're actually putting our money where our mouth is. So as far as buy-in, it's we've never been more aligned and more committed to getting a coach to come to the 40 acres as we are right now. So it's very exciting. It's just the ball's in Urban's court. He just needs to say yes, because we're doing everything we possibly can from what it seems like.
And there's no possible there's no one outbidding us. It's if to him it's just a location thing now.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple of sites said that maybe there is other suitors that he does want to coach again for sure, but they just want to see if it's at Texas or maybe somewhere else. And I mean, if you look across the board in college football right now, there's absolutely no job that even comes close. Maybe he wants to stay close to home in the Midwest and coach an NFL team, maybe the Detroit Lions. But I mean, you're not coming out of retirement to coach the Detroit Lions.
Go
Like,
rebuild the Lions? No, that's not fun.
Yeah.
This guy's a recruiter too. Like, come on.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that from what I've heard, everything that I've read, Urban would only be interested at this point in his life in coaching at one of three schools if he came out of retirement. It'd be Texas, USC, or Notre Dame. Notre Dame obviously doesn't need a new head coach right now. Brian Kelly's killing it. Plus he's cheap. I saw like his I don't remember his salary exactly, but I saw a tweet about it recently. I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't even know if he's I think he's in the top 10 of highest paid coaches, but like right at the bottom, which for Notre Dame standards is weird. I'm sure he'll get a raise after this season. And then USC, I don't know. I mean, between Texas and USC, I'd go Texas, not only just recruiting and alignment in the a little bit more alignment in the conference, but I mean, right now, everything that we're indicating shows that we are very serious right now about winning, and I don't think USC can say the same at the moment. They're definitely going through some ups and downs, and it's kind of a culture check time for them. And I don't know for sure if they're going to fire their head coach. So really, I only see us or being the only option if Urban's going to come out of retirement.
I agree.
Otherwise, he's going to wait a little bit longer before reassessing it. I really don't see him going to the NFL. I don't peg him as an NFL guy. The options were definitely there. These past couple seasons.
There was better teams. Like,
yeah. I mean, he could have been the coach of the Cowboys or something, you know. Like,
yeah.
But he's not an NFL guy from everything that – I mean, you look at his scheme. I don't think his scheme would work in the NFL. Maybe it would, but it's really just coming down to, does he want to coach right now?
Mm-hmm.
Is he willing to take that risk with his health, which we're going to touch on momentarily, and is the money there? And really, all the boxes are checked. It's really just a matter of what does he want?
Matt, you touched on like getting his guys and assistants and all those people. Does that mean like coordinators? Do you think we'd keep our coordinators, or what do you think about that?
No, he has like a clique of Italian support staff. It's really weird. There's a bunch of Italians on Ohio State that he brought with him.
Italians?
Yeah, a bunch of Italians like Patoni, Villatini. I don't know, a bunch of names like that.
Okay, nice.
I'm not going to claim to know who they are, but one's like their player personnel.
Business.
Right.
Yeah, one's their like player personnel person that like helps with recruiting, I would imagine, and the other one is their strength coach. Like,
yes.
You know how important a strength and conditioning program is to a college football team. So I think it starts with those two, and then obviously the quarterbacks coach, Corey Dennis, who just flipped Quinn Ewers. That's his son-in-law. So I would imagine his son-in-law is coming with him to Texas.
Damn.
And probably. And I also want to mention this. I think, you know how we want Urban for like 5-6 years, whatever he can give us, and then leave us with a Ryan Day. I think if he came, his Ryan Day would be Corey Dennis, his son-in-law, his little prodigy. Because
really,
yeah, he's shown a lot of promise early in his career, and I don't know. I feel like he just could be that type. Just listening to him and reading up on him. So, and that's his son-in-law. So I feel like he would want to, you know, get him in a position to take over one day at a program like Texas. So I don't know. I mean, those are the guys he wants to bring with him, and he's still gauging their interest. And I'm sure, and it's been reported that Texas is going to like a $10 million pool for assistant coaches. So we're definitely going to make sure these guys are paid well. So, I mean, it's just up to them to accept the job. Like you said, we're doing all we can. So, I mean, it just comes down to them.
They're going to try. I mean, you know, I won't fault them. These guys just say yes now. I thought I was going to bring something else up real quick. No, speaking of uh, like the one thing I'm like most excited about if we do get him is having that like infrastructure. You know what I mean? That quarterbacks coach, like, I mean, you're not. It's just acting like fairy tale world that it does get passed on to him or whatever. It's that type of like thing though, like the whole Ryan Day like passing the torch thing, to where like it's not you're getting Urban, but you're not just like getting him for like just the years on the contract. You know, it's even beyond that, and it's a culture thing that I'm hoping if he comes, he brings with him as well, which he seems to bring everywhere he goes. So that's the main thing I'm very excited about.
Definitely. Myers, from what you've been seeing, mostly 5-year contracts, because I almost kind of expected like a 10-year. And I think I heard about this recently that kind of the Urban Meyer shtick in terms of recruiting against him um, is that he's only going to be around momentarily. So from what I've heard, Texas might actually try getting him on a long contract to help with the recruiting. So it kind of backs up the whole thing about whenever players are trying to recruit against Texas, they can't be like, oh, well, in 2 years he's gone and then your whole staff is going to change. Um, Thoughts on that, or are you not really hearing? You're hearing mostly 5 and maybe 7.
Yeah, I've heard mostly 5. I've also heard 6 and 7, and I have heard a little bit of chatter about 10 years, but I've heard that far less. I think, I mean, he probably does want as much money guaranteed as possible just to be safe, and he always knows that he can leave whenever he wants. Just say he's
Right.
having migraines to stress and he's done. So, um, yeah, I think I could be true. I don't know. That's all up to Urban. I don't know if he wants just like if he's just looking at it as 5 years, pay me top dollar for 5 years and I'm done, or let me secure as much long-term money as I can and I'll leave when I want to. So I think that's kind of up to Urban's preference in that regard. But either way, we're gonna do whatever he wants. So, I mean, if it's 10 years, then I would think that we wouldn't be paying him 12
Yeah.
in a year. Like that's just like 120 million guaranteed. That's crazy. I mean, we might do it, but like I don't know. I just feel like 5 years.
Do you have
12.
a preference?
I mean, I'd like. I think you need to get that 6th year out of them because 5 years gives them time to get like like 1 or 2 teams full of his players. So it gives you basically like 2 true title windows. And I know he's good enough to win with other people's players, but I want him to get all of his players in here.
Yeah.
And I want to get more than just 2 windows. I'd like at least 3 of like full Urban recruit, full Urban led teams, full Urban culture. So I would love to push for that 6th, maybe 7th year, but I know that's asking for a lot. But I mean, I know at Ohio State he stayed for 7 years and was Florida 6 years. So I think we could, if we manage it right, keep him around for 7, maybe 8 years. Then he retires. If we like put the infrastructure around him where he's not going to be just like bombarded with stress, and he's gonna have stuff like that at Texas, obviously. But if Del Conte and company can like manage it as well as possible, where he's really comfortable, then maybe we can get him for 7, 8 years. So I'd love to get as many years as we can out of him, but all he really needs to do is give us like 4 years to like flip the culture, and we'll be fine in the long term. But I'd love to get as many as we can.
Do you really think that the Ohio State job is any less stressful, I should say, than the Texas job? Because in my mind, Ohio State is way more stress. I mean, Texas does have
Way
a lot of
more
pressure with
complicated.
it, but my
Right.
God, the Ohio State fans are probably the most notorious in college football. That's just my thoughts. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the expectations are kind of like the atmosphere and expectations would more or less be the same. You know what I mean? Just two fan bases that are a little fed up and expect a little higher standard, and I feel like that'd be nothing new to him.
Yeah, it's definitely like bogus to say that Ohio State's like a way like way less stressful job than Texas. I mean, a lot of those claims come from the Longhorn Network being some big like gaping like hole of stress for every head coach to like do 2 shows a week. Like, I don't think a guy like Urban, who's like been on TV and enjoyed his time on Fox.
That man works on TV right now. Like,
he's made for TV.
You can handle an interview from the Longhorn Network.
He loves talking ball. He's passionate about it. So I don't think – and our reporters rarely ask tough questions anyway, so I don't think that would be any more stressful. In Texas, I know that we do run coaches off a lot, but if Urban Meyer goes 9-3 his first 2 years, we're not going to be saying
I'm not running that guy off. You kidding me?
Urban off. At that point, we're realizing we're done as a program.
I'll wait as long as it takes for Meyer.
Yeah. So I don't think that's true. I think Ohio State's every bit, if not more stressful, because their fans seem a little more toxic than Texas fans. And that's just kind of like widely known across college football. Just go ask an average college football fan who's a more like crazy toxic fan base. They're going to all say Ohio State, more trashy fan base. I don't know. I mean, Ohio State fans I know are nice and chill, but that's just like the stereotype they have. So, yeah, I think Texas is definitely the same level of stress as Ohio State, if not less.
Yeah. That's an excellent point, though. I didn't even think about Longhorn Network, but, man, they're probably wanting Urban just as bad as anyone else. God, that could potentially revive the Longhorn Network. Like, they could do so many segments with him.
Yes.
And then he retired. If Urban retired and wanted to stay in Austin and become, like, a part-time analyst for Longhorn Network, wow.
I'd be more excited for like the like behind the scene practice stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Just like on like hear him talk on the practice field. Oh man, yeah, I love that stuff. I'd die for that stuff.
He's good for business.
Yeah, he's good for business.
Bring a big name in. I mean, it's good for business, good for recruiting, good for winning. Other things with Urban before we hop into what if we don't get him. Is there any other things we should talk about, or should we go into that sad subject matter?
I'm trying to think. I think we kind of already know the answer to this, but if we do get Urban, there's no way we're flipping recruits, right?
Wait, what? If we don't get him?
If we do get Urban, like how likely is it we're flipping recruits?
I mean, 2022 definitely will be flipping years, and especially if he brings his son-in-law with him, which I would imagine he does.
Okay.
Definitely being back in the door for 2022, but 2021, it's kind of like signing day is in like 2 weeks. So
yeah.
But
kind of
transfers. We're gonna get a whole lot of those if Irving comes in, especially with the COVID, because the players get another year of eligibility if they want. So man, you can just transfer and pretend that the 2020 season didn't exist and go play for Urban at Texas. Like, I think we'd get plenty of those, which is good. Deal. We'll need that. We'll need that, especially on our offensive line and what other key positions? Defensive line, probably. So, I guess we'll then hop into the sad part of the video. What if we don't get him? What do we do?
Well,
I don't know.
I'll just start off real quick. I had this feeling that if we don't get Urban, like Herman's here again. Like I just don't see us going after like who else and there's talks of like NFL coaches, and I just don't see Shanahan, Carroll, or leaving their situations because they're not in bad situations. You know what I mean? And then I don't want to, and personally, I don't want to do another experiment coach and like let's prove himself. Like I don't want to do that again. So unless there's other well-known college football coaches that are interested, but I haven't heard anything about that. But yeah, personally, that's what I think.
Hardball.
Kidding.
Myers, what have you heard in terms of Plan Bs?
Yeah, there's apparently a NFL coach that's like kind of I wouldn't say our second option, but he's like gaining a lot of traction. As I don't know if it's like a leverage piece to, like help with the Urban negotiations or like maybe speed up the process. But there's an NFL active coach right now that apparently we have our eyes on, and there's mutual interest there. And they won't reveal the name for whatever reason. They won't leak it. But apparently everybody's all the reporters, the mods have said that we will be, most Longhorn fans will be very excited about this hire. So use your imagination. I don't know. Maybe Matt Rule wants to come back to college and coach. He doesn't like the
After
NFL.
1 year in the pros.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
hard. Like, I don't know. I don't I don't watch the NFL too much. So, I mean, Madrid probably know better than me. What I was thinking is, I don't want to do another experiment, but if we had to do one, let's just give. I don't know how important Eric Bieniemy is to the Kansas City offense. I don't know if that's more Andy Reid or not,
Mhm.
but he is very charismatic. He seems like a leader. He
Yeah.
has experience in college. And I think he's an offensive genius, unless it's all Andy Reid and he's just kind of like working through Andy Reid. But I maybe let him get a shot and buy him some like elite defensive coordinators, because I definitely think he could give us like a Lincoln Riley level offense in college if he gets the right players here.
Well, he's
Yeah,
good.
I definitely think he could recruit just based on his interviews and stuff. I think that is and I know all these NFL coaches want him to, NFL teams want him to, so that might just be a pipe dream. But I mean, we can pay whoever we want, whatever we want. So I mean, if we're talking, like project coaches, I think that'd be interesting. As far as college, Brian Kelly, obviously, that might be interesting to watch, because if Notre Dame goes to the playoff and then she gets like destroyed by Bama, Kelly's the type to like realize, and like there's already been chatter about that. It's hard to get talent at Notre Dame with their restrictions and just being in the Midwest. It's hard, like academic restrictions. So I could see him listening to us, like come coach at Texas. You can get way more 5 stars down here, way more talent. And you can win here more easily than you do in South Bend. So I think that's a possibility maybe. And he's kind of a proven guy. He's been to the playoff, been to national championships, hasn't got over the hump, but he's been there. He's built Cincinnati up. Him, obviously, try to call Dabo. Doubt that would happen, but still try it. And then beyond that, I don't know, Luke Fickell maybe, but that's just Herman 2.0, same situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously better than Herman in terms of like recruiting and stuff. He's really a great coach, but I mean, it's still a G5 coach that does not have that much experience. So
No
it's just,
experiment.
we just better not strike out on Urban. I mean, it would just save so many headaches.
I'm down with going all in.
Right. Yeah. In terms of college coaches, I really don't see any others that would really excite me. I mean, Brian Kelly, like I said, he's a great coach, and I am a fan of his. I do not think that, I don't know if that fit would be there with Texas, because he's not very charismatic. He's very much X's and O's, not players coach, but he's an old school coach that I don't think is very into the glitz and glamour. But then again, I mean, if he's the coach at Notre Dame, he's around media all the time, so I maybe it would work. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's something that would generate a ton of excitement, though. It's not like Brian Kelly's like he's been there for so long that I wouldn't see him as like a glowing piece, even though he can recruit very well and coach well. NFL coaches, that's interesting. I don't expect Matt Rule, and I don't know if you're saying on the message boards that, oh, this coach would excite a lot of people. I don't know if Matt Rule would excite a lot of people. Maybe he would.
Not me. Personally.
Everything that I've heard about Matt Rule is he wanted to get out of college and go to the NFL because he doesn't like recruiting and just likes developing and coaching, which, good for him. But I don't see it with that. You all know how much of a Shanahan fan I am. I'd love to have him, but 49ers love him, and he just was at a Super Bowl.
I don't see them letting go.
All the coaches that are good in the NFL, I don't see them leaving. Pete Carroll would be funny just because we beat him against USC. I don't know if he could go over to Texas. Who else? Obviously, McVay is not going to leave LA.
Joe Brady? Nah.
Joe Brady? Yeah.
No, him and Matt Rule, they had a good season in Carolina. Like, even though the record doesn't show it, but like they were competent. So I think in my mind they'd be more excited to build what they have with Teddy and Christian McCaffrey. You know what I mean?
He would generate excitement, though.
He would.
So
He would, absolutely.
that would not surprise me if that was our plan B or C.
Mm-hmm.
Myers, what do you think?
Yeah, that might be direction we're looking at, but I would hate that.
Hope that works.
I don't think Joe Brady would be cut out for it at all. South Carolina courted him about their head coaching job, and he said no, he doesn't, and mainly because he doesn't like the recruiting part of college. So you throw him in at Texas, like under the microscope. That's Texas as a first-time head coach, and he's all of a sudden just like at Texas, and he's never even been a head coach before. Much less been in college that much. I just don't think that would be a recipe for success. And so no, I hope it's not Joe Brady. I would not like that at all.
Facts. Hopefully it's Plan A.
Plan A, baby.
Question mark. Yeah, he's now. I think I just read an article today that Stoops is actually helping out with coaching duties at Oklahoma because of COVID concerns.
I'll just be there. I'll just be there for free. You just let me stand there.
I cannot see Bob coming over to Texas.
Not even Texas fans are like that.
No, that's like Mac going to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
But I know that the rumors definitely have been there as well.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Anything else before we switch subjects here and talk a little bit about Iowa State and Kansas State?
One last question, I guess. Does Herman make it to the end of the season, or are we after one of these games? What do you think?
Off the top of my head, it's really a matter of whenever we get. If we get Urban, it's whenever Urban's like, okay, I'm in.
Fair enough.
So if it's this week, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, like Meyer said, on Sunday or Monday after the Kansas State game. I think that's a very real possibility. Otherwise, maybe once we play Kansas, if we do actually play Kansas, once the regular season ends, he'll probably be let go at that point. My guess is that David Ash would take over interim duties for the bowl game, if there is a bowl game. I mean, it's a whole bunch of question marks right now for the rest of the season, honestly.
You're right.
I think it just kind of happens whenever it happens. But yeah, Myers, you're going to say something.
Yeah, we're definitely on Urban Meyer's schedule, so whatever he wants, we'll defer to that at least for now. Probably give him like a couple of weeks to decide at max. But I mean, if he said yes, let's say he said yes to tomorrow, Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. If he said yes tomorrow, I think we would wait until Sunday to announce it. Let Herman finish the Kansas State game out, and then we'll go from there. But if he wants to hold off on it beyond this week, obviously we'll just wait till the end of the season. I mean, if we even play Kansas, we'll wait till that Sunday to announce it. I think it'd be, I don't know. Nobody knows, but it's going to be in the next couple week to 2 weeks. So soon enough, apparently.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the Iowa State game that happened. We're not going to touch too much on it because obviously we just talked ad nauseum about Urban and don't want to lose y'all's attention too much. So Madrid, how about you talk a little bit about the game, what you saw, and obviously why did we lose this game?
Yeah, it was funny. I didn't have this thought till after the game. It was just like, man, Herman didn't look like a guy that was coaching for his job. You know what I mean?
No.
Come on, man. This is do or die this season going to the Big 12 championship. And yet, you know what? It just looked same old, same old. We had a lead. We had a lead, not a comfortable lead, but a lead throughout the whole game, and then just lost it in the last 7 minutes or so in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
really not that much time left. It's just there was just no adjustments, just bad play calling. Don't know what was up with that fake punt that probably did us in. Remind me of the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, if anyone saw that.
Absolutely.
And just, I don't know, time management towards the end. I was like, come on, man. God bless Sam, but taking that sack, you just made that kick 5 yards or 10 yards harder for Dicker. You know what I mean? If you just throw it away or even just get 5 more yards, depending on what the kick looked like at the end, it probably goes in. So it's just a lot of man, do y'all not understand the urgency? Do you not feel the pressure around this game? Like, this is do or die for your season, and this is do or die for you, Herman, as like the leader of this program. And it was just fitting to see it all one last time. Be like, yep, that's the Texas I know the last 10 years, and especially under Herman. Like, put a bow on it. Let's move on. And, I don't think anyone cares. I'm sure there's diehards out there. You know what? And I will watch the game this coming weekend. But no one really is like, yeah, let's go get them this week. We're all looking towards the future again already. So it's just sad that it went out like that. It's sad for the seniors that had to experience the last game like that. Like, I'm positive pretty sure Sam's not coming back. So, like, for him to go out on senior day like that, like, oh my God, like, how many times do we have to put this guy through a nightmare? So yeah, same old. I'm ready to move on. Anyone else?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that there was like no urgency, like your job's on the line, because today Texas just beat North Carolina in basketball, and Matt Coleman said that we're winning all these games for my coach Shaka. He gets a lot of heat from the media, from the fans, so we're here winning for him.
Yeah.
And we saw that with Charlie too. At the end of Charlie's career, the players were like protesting the games. They heard that he was going to get fired.
Yeah.
They were all showed up to the press conference to like support Charlie. I don't feel like the players on Texas, they don't hate Herman, but they're not attached to Herman like most players are to their coaches. So I think that's part of it. Like, he can say all he wants, get to like work with him as hard as he wants, but at the end of the day, the players need to be bought into the coach fully for like that's it. To play with pressure, like his job's on the line. Yeah. So I think that was part of it. And, I didn't even get to watch most of the game, and that's crazy because, like, I've just lost all interest in this team this season. But what I did notice when I started watching the Iowa State game last year and compared to this year, just trying to investigate why Sam Ehlinger has just become so mediocre. And I think I figured it out. Sam Ehlinger put on a lot of muscle this offseason, like a lot. You could just see it in the pictures compared to last year. And I think that's messed with him. Like, his throwing motion is way less crisp. It's hard to like throw or like swing a bat when you're like fully jacked. Like, you want to be like lanky and more of like a whip than like a, just pure muscle. Pure power. Yeah. I think that may have messed with like his accuracy because he I don't know, like, he just does not look confident. And also he looks slower than he did last year, less fluid in the pocket. He's got like heavier feet. He's staring at the rush more. I don't know if that has to do with anything, but I think he put on too much muscle this offseason because you don't ever see quarterbacks that look like him with those arms. Like, and they weren't this big last year. Like, he's got huge arms. It looks like a line.
I thought he lost weight though. I thought last season he put on a lot of weight, and then he lost it this season to.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I think he put on more muscle though. I don't know how his body composition is, but he looks way more like defined than this year. Looks way more swole, at least at first glance. So yeah, I don't know. We're grasping at straws here, but
more lumbering now. I know what you mean.
But yeah, it was disappointing seeing him take that sack, in such a critical moment for like a senior who's played so many games in Texas. It's like not
man.
So yeah, that really hurt. But I mean, the defense played well as always. Chris Ash did his job. They did all they could do really, but it just comes down to our offense, our receivers not making plays. We had a lot of drops, a lot of bad throws by Sam. Bijan looked good, didn't get that many carries though. Roshan finally looked healthy, so that was exciting. But overall, just another unimpressive, uninspiring performance by Tom Herman's team. And at least now we know that like it's over. He's not coming back next season. So at least I can like start watching the games with more like hope for the future. Because I was just like, ever since the OU game, I've just been like, it hasn't felt the same watching the Horns play at all. Like, I'm just like,
no, you're right.
Look, like we're going nowhere under this coach. So I'm just glad at least we have some closure now because he's not coming back. We're in too deep now. He's the holes. His grave has been dug. So yeah, he's done. So hopefully we get Urban in quickly. But I don't have too much to say about the game, honestly. I was expected. That's just what Herman is.
You've seen it before.
Yeah. And I mean, Madrid touched on this at the beginning, but the main thing that did this team in losing this game, I felt like was the play calling, especially in the second half, because we came out really good. Like after the first quarter, I was feeling really good about this game. I'm like, wow, we might dominate Iowa State. And we didn't, because we didn't make any adjustments Iowa State did because Matt Campbell's actually a good coach. Our defense played well. We held them to under 25 points, so really you can't ask for better when you're in the Big 12. And yeah, Kolar did a really good job as Myers and I expected when we did our preview of them, as well as Purdy. But the fourth quarter management was horrible. Those last two drives were just disgusting with the play calling. I mean, if anything, just run the damn ball and punt. Like just burn clock. And they
you have a lead,
to do
it old school.
And they kept going to long passes to Sam. And I'm like, this is the one thing that Sam has struggled with the entire year. And you go to long balls when you're trying to kill clock.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then obviously Sam taking the sack was huge. The fourth downs, the fourth and short, that's definitely a debatable thing. Like I understand going for it, but not with that play call. Not a slow developing play against a Iowa State defense that is doing pretty well that day. That's not smart. I don't know why we don't do QB sneaks with Sam. That has puzzled me from day one. Just get it behind center and just plow. I think he can always, become a very reliable guy to just do that. But we never do that. We always put him in shotgun and do these slow plays with him. And then, just everything was poor in terms of coaching, which was just the biggest indicament of the fact that, hey, it's time to move on. So just like Meyer said, it's nice. It's nice. It's good to see it one last time where it's like, okay, this clearly is not working. So for all the people that were – because apparently there were still plenty of people holding out hope like, hey, if we win the Big 12 or make it there, like we should keep them, that didn't jump the boat like we did after the Oklahoma game. He finally proved his – not doubters. What's the opposite of doubters? Supporters. He finally proved his supporters that, hey, it's time to call quits on this team. So, yep. I don't see Tom staying around. Even if we don't get Urban, I do think that we're going to have to probably get a new coaching staff anyways, just because the main point is recruiting. I think that it comes down to. Like, if anything, if we get a new coach, it's not like recruiting will get worse. If anything, it'll get better, even if it's another question mark at head coach. So those are just our thoughts. With that said, we will very briefly touch on Kansas State, but because the season is effectively over, and honestly, this game and Kansas may not even happen because of COVID, we're just going to touch on it briefly. Kansas State, obviously, doesn't have anything to play for. Neither do us at this point. We have two of our stars that declared for the NFL draft that are going to be sitting out for the rest of the season in Cosme and surprisingly in Stearns, but I'm not overly surprised because, I don't know, he just seemed to be done with college football. I think his mentality is just kind of like, hey, if I'm going to continue playing before I get hurt again, at least let me get paid for it and give me a contract, which fine by me,
Go get your money, man.
Get your money. Myers, thoughts on the Kansas State game? Brief thoughts. What should we expect to see?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think the most interesting part about it is it's on Fox, big noon. So if nothing happens, like substantial between Urban and Texas by Saturday, that whole show is going to be interesting. Because they
watch the show.
Yeah,
I'm going to be watching for that reason.
Yeah. So that's an intriguing part of it. I'm excited. I mean, I'm glad Caden Stearns is declaring. I think it's just like best for both parties. I mean, I think he can go make some money now and we can move on from him because he just kind of stopped progressing. I don't think he was totally bought into Herman's team. So good for him. And I want to see these young guys get in, Xavion Alford. I want to see Tyler Owens play. I don't know. And then also the O-line with Cosme. I'm hoping Andre Karras can get some run, but I don't think he is going to start at least. I think I read that they're moving like Kerstetter outside and then Christian Jones or something and Jake
Is
Mather.
Kerstetter playing though? I thought he was hurt apparently.
Yeah, that could be a thing. I don't know if Kerstetter's playing or not, but I thought that was the plan. I think that's what Herman said in the press conference, but I'm not completely sure. I was more paying attention to him being asked like really tough questions. So, yeah, I mean, I expect Deuce Vaughn to drop like 500 yards on us or something crazy. It's just fitting. The Austin boy who got like overlooked, just gonna go like supernova on us, and that's gonna be all over like Fox. Like this guy from Austin, Texas, another one that Texas missed, just tore him up. Yep.
Yeah.
So, that's how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
For me, what are we? You put it in 7-point faves.
Yep.
I mean, Kansas State's been down in the dumps since Skylar Thompson was out. So I was telling you it's two lame duck teams just battling out to see who's more lame. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's accurate.
That's accurate. I just want to call a team lame. It sounds so bad. But, yeah, I think most people watching this game are just going to have it on because it's a Texas game. Nothing riding on it. It will be interesting if Tom Herman is still the coach by the time this game plays to see how he approaches it. It'd be funny if we just saw same old. What if he just turned it on or something? Beat him down? I doubt it. But with all the starters out, especially key old linemen like that, like that doesn't make me feel good about the running game. Doesn't make me feel good about protecting our quarterback. But yeah, I expect a slow game and a low scoring game, in my opinion. So, and an unexciting game too.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's give our predictions real quick, and then we'll wrap up this show. Madrid, since you were just talking.
Yeah. I got us 30-21. Got us covering. Like I said, very unaspiring football. But I think KSU's more down bad more than us, so we win.
Myers.
Yeah, a quick comment on the game I forgot to mention. I wish Sam would like opt out just to see the young guys play, because I know we're not good enough to blow anybody out and get them in. So I wish we could at least see the young guys like Hudson, Casey, Quindon.
That'd be nice.
But as far as predictions, I'm going to take Kansas State to win this one 21-20. I just don't trust Texas. I know Kansas State's horrible without Skylar Thompson now, but they have their own problems over there in Manhattan. But they're at home, and we've been bad on the road, it seems like, under Herman. So I just feel like Herman knows the writing on the wall, and that's going to creep into the locker room and the practice facility this week, and we're just going to lay up another big fat egg, like an extra big egg on Saturday. So Kansas State wins a close, ugly game.
All right. For me, I do hope that this happens, I have us winning 27-24 in a hard-fought game against Kansas State. It'll be ugly. It'll be nasty, but Texas will come to play. Tom Herman will end his career on a win, so he can leave with a little bit of dignity. And the following day, we're going to announce that Urban's our new head coach. So we get the win, and we get the even bigger win after that.
Nice.
So let's hope that happens. Y'all got anything else before we wrap it up here?
No.
Get those prayers in. Get those prayers in. Urban Meyer.
Yeah. Start writing your
light them candles, bro. Come on.
Right. Start sending your donations to the University of Texas, because they'll need it. They'll need it after if they go through with this. So, yeah. From all of us here, thank you for watching the show. If you haven't already, like we said, please subscribe, like, comment. Do all three. You're awesome. And let's hope and watch for these upcoming few days as Texas looks to lure in the almighty Urban Meyer.
Let's go.
Until next time.
See y'all.
We'll see you guys. And let's hope that this video is not too late and that he isn't hired by the time this video comes out. So,
Yes, sir.
welcome. See you guys.